Hello and welcome to another episode of the Kid Stays in the Podcast. I'm your host, Trey Cooper, and joining me today is...
Chocolate Cooper.
Whoa, you really couldn't think of anything.
That was it.
Chocolate.
Yeah.
What does that have to do with what we're talking about today?
So, it's like, I don't even think it's exactly Icelandic. It sounds Icelandic in the way it's spelled.
It sounds like a French movie with Johnny Depp.
It's SJ, and that's all it needs to be sounding Icelandic to me. So, it just means chocolate. It's not Icelandic, I don't think.
It just means chocolate in Spanish.
No, it's chocolate.
Okay, so French.
Okay. SJOKL.
You're just spelling it different and still pronouncing the same way.
No, S chocolate.
I can't have you doing this.
I thought it was fun. I thought it was neat.
Anyway, today we have a very, very, I'm going to say, interesting episode. It's going to be a little bit dark and bloody and revengey.
Yeah.
And trippy. Because we are going to be discussing the latest Robert Eggers movie, The Northman.
Northman. Yep.
So
we're watching.
Yeah, and if you're familiar with Robert Eggers, you know, his first movie, I think, was The Witch. And his second movie was The Lighthouse. The Lighthouse especially was quite a ride.
Yes, indeed. A ride that I did not enjoy, and that also made me throw up at the end.
So a ride that you wanted to get off of.
Yes.
But yeah, before we get into that, we don't have any show recaps. We're in between, big tentpole shows. Nothing on the Marvel front or the Disney front. I can say that I don't want to give a full Halo show recap now that the finale's happened. Enough said.
Yeah, not worth it, honestly.
Yeah, it just wasn't worth talking about anymore. We'll see what happens next season.
It wasn't fun to talk about, honestly. So, and I'm sure y'all didn't even care about it that much.
And it was getting increasingly less fun to watch.
Yeah. So,
I don't think you even watched the whole back half of it, did you?
I didn't watch the finale. You said it wasn't good enough.
Yeah. Well. Anyway, so anything you're looking forward to coming up this summer?
Bob's Burgers movie.
I am looking forward to that. Yes, we'll probably do a podcast on it.
Lightyear. That's coming out fairly soon, right?
I'm still a little bit irritated they recast Buzz Lightyear.
I'm also quite upset about that as well.
And everyone was saying like, "Whoa, but it's a prequel and it's when he's younger." Well, yeah, if it was a live action movie, I would get it. But you don't have to voice recast. We just watched the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers reboot, and they didn't recast Gadget. You just draw her the same age. And the lady's still like 60, 70 years old who's voicing her.
Yeah.
And it's not like Tim Allen is a billion years old. It just felt crappy. You know what I mean?
Well, isn't the movie supposed to be like... It's like the actual Buzz Lightyear movie within the universe of Toy Story.
Yeah.
So maybe that's just a random actor, and that Buzz Lightyear is just an actual a different person.
That doesn't make any sense, though. Toys would use the voice of the actor from the movie.
Why?
So whenever you buy a Buzz Lightyear toy and you push the button, it's Tim Allen's voice that's coming out of the thing.
Well, yeah, but not all of them have buttons that make them talk. How do you know not like...
What does this have to do? I'm really...
How do you know not all of the Buzz Lightyears...
Where you're going with this?
How do you know not all the Buzz Lightyears have different voices? Maybe one's like there's a country Buzz Lightyear.
But the voice that comes out of his actual toy thing when you push the button is the same way that he talks. Oh. Yes.
Then never mind.
Yeah, it feels crappy because Tim Allen's not incredibly popular. I know he's, he used to have a sitcom that was kind of controversial, I guess, because it was kind of conservative. I don't really know what was controversial about it, but it wasn't that popular of a show. It's not on the air anymore, so he's not the big giant name in comedy that he used to be.
Yeah,
I think that has more to do with it than any other conspiracy reasons that people have. But yeah, so Tom Hanks still is a superstar.
Yeah.
And now that Tim Allen's kind of not, and then, maybe he has lost some of his fan base because of some things, and then to recast him with some young hot guy who's really popular, it just feels cynical. It feels, and their reasoning feels really phony. Let's put it this way: if they were going to do the opposite, your favorite Toy Story movie is Toy Story 2, right?
Yeah.
So let's say they were going to make an actual movie of Woody's Roundup.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think they would recast Tom Hanks with somebody younger?
No.
Exactly. So why are they recasting Tim Allen?
That's fair. It's a fair point.
It sounds like you
This is a prequel, though.
It sounds like you took a bunch of downers on your way over here.
What do you mean?
You just are like, yeah, I agree. You sound like you've been listening to emo music all day long.
No, Dad. This is who I am now.
A vampire?
Nope. You always get annoyed with me for my dumbness, so now I'm just gonna be like this and very focused and intellectual now.
It just sounds like you're trying to make everybody fall asleep, like you're doing one of those talking podcasty things that people listen to fall asleep.
Like calm.
Yeah, except for more like you started doing it, but then you started making yourself fall asleep as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
really high energy.
No, Dad.
You need to carry around a pack of that Big League Chew. The other day we were trying to watch a movie, and Solomon ate so much Big League Chew that he would not shut up the entire movie. He literally talked about random things nonstop through the whole movie. Now we're trying to talk about movies, and now you're quiet as a church mice.
No, Dad. That was just because I wasn't talking the whole movie, for one, and for two, I just don't think that's the energy that they want from this podcast.
You think the energy they want is none? Zero? Zero?
How about you should? I think you should stop talking about the energy level and start talking about the movie, Dad.
I think people need to understand. People are getting concerned. I'm getting nonstop texts. People are like,
think we should
is Solomon hurting himself? Is he having a depressive spell?
No, I'm good.
Oh my gosh, that's dark. Anyway, so cynical move, I think, on Disney's part, recasting Tim Allen. That makes me not as excited about that movie. We went on like a 5-minute rant, I did, just on that.
I still want to watch it.
I mean, I'm sure I'll go watch it too, because I watch every Pixar movie for the most part.
I think it'll still be good. It'll just be sad not having the same voice actor.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I'm really looking forward to the Obi-Wan show.
Oh, yeah, so am I. Obviously.
And that starts next week? No. Tomorrow.
What?
Tomorrow. Do you want to stay up late and watch it tonight?
I like how we're planning this right now.
Yeah, that's what we do on this podcast. We plan our schedule. That's what people want to hear. That's what they listen to.
Sure. Sounds good to me.
I think it starts today. It might start on the 27th.
But I have a show tomorrow.
Okay. So I have to go to New York tomorrow.
And it's early, though.
Not earlier than I have to leave to go to New York.
Okay.
Let's live with the consequences.
All right. Sounds good then, I guess.
All right. Now that you guys know when we're going to watch the Obi-Wan show. And then there's another big movie coming out this year, but I cannot think of what it is. I'm just making weird noises.
I didn't mean to. Another big movie besides Lightyear and what I said earlier, Big Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. I mean, I know we already have plans to kind of...
Is it Men?
No, I'm not
going to go see Men?
I don't want to see Men.
Isn't Men your favorite thing?
No, I don't want to see that at all. Men is Alex Garland's new movie.
My dad is in love with the patriarchy.
It just seems so on the nose.
My dad hates women.
Why are you saying weird? You're just saying accusatory things. No one's going to understand what the joke here is.
It's called Men, and you're saying...
People may not even know what this movie is.
They know what it is.
Why would me not liking a movie called Men mean that I love the patriarchy and hate women? There's no context that you gave, so even your imbecilic joke doesn't work.
They should know.
Just explain to me how they would not naturally get it. If you haven't seen the trailer, you know what the movie is. And you just know that it's called Men. Me saying I don't want to watch it, it looks crappy. How would that mean that I love the patriarchy and hate women?
But listen, I don't know how that would happen because, look.
I don't know how it would happen either because it's not true.
But listen. This is a movie podcast. I assume they watch movies. Therefore, they go to the movies. Therefore, they've seen the trailers in front of the movies, and that trailer has been playing every single time. So they would have had to probably have seen it. Or at least have heard about it.
Doubtful.
A single time.
I bet not. I bet you're wrong.
Okay.
I bet a lot of people have not heard of Men. See how easily you're giving up now because of your Because of your low energy?
Well, I'm not giving up. I just don't want to keep.
You keep saying, okay.
I just don't want to keep arguing
Okay.
about this. I don't want to keep arguing about it.
Well, from now on, whenever you're giving up, you need to say, I give up. I failed.
I concede. I'm waving my white flag
Yeah.
in the air. I surrender. I'm sorry.
Anyway, it's the summer movie season is kicking off, so I know there's a lot of other movies that we're missing. I know that Doctor Strange kind of kicked it off, and I cannot think of what the next big movie is.
Well,
So
we always have next time.
well, no, it's fine. I'm just upset that I'm kind of blanking on it. All right, so let's go ahead and discuss The Northman.
The Northman.
Oh, I think you should go ahead and do the plot synopsis. This should be actually
This
really,
is
really
so easy.
Yeah, this should be really easy.
So am I gonna give it right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So The Lion King.
No, you don't get to do that.
Why not?
You have to give an actual plot synopsis. I agree with you, and we'll get there.
Okay, fine.
So I appreciate what you did.
All right. Hamlet.
Oh my god! Now you're stealing all the talking points from the rest of the show.
What do you mean?
I need you to give an actual plot synopsis.
Look, man, I'm giving the
Those same people that haven't heard of Men haven't heard of The Lion King
or Hamlet.
or Hamlet.
Who are these people?
And people are very literal minded. Not necessarily our listeners, but we got to make sure. What if they have somebody in the room, a normie in the room, and you say, "Oh, the plot of The Northman is the same as The Lion King, so it's about lions that become friends with warthogs," and that's not what that movie looked like it was going to be about. So yeah.
Okay. So this guy's father gets killed by his brother, and he seeks revenge.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And it's a man. It's a human person.
Yeah, it's not a lion.
Just want to clarify that for any normies.
We need to have some kind of term for people that don't like movies. It's kind of like a muggle.
A muggle?
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to use muggle. That's already been taken.
What if we called them like muvels?
No.
Movels.
Just so you know, I want everybody to know that Solomon's just checking his phone and texting
I'm not
in the
checking.
middle of the show.
I'm putting it on Do Not Disturb.
Another thing that you should have done way earlier.
Well, I always forget until
So-
I start getting texts.
I almost said let's dive right in.
Okay.
But then I tried to think of something that would be more Icelandic and Viking-y, but I couldn't think of anything.
Let's boat
Oh no.
on
No,
into the conversation.
no.
Why not?
I think that's even worse.
Let's sail on in. Let's paddle.
Yeah,
on in.
they did sail. I guess they did have sails.
They also paddled.
So the Northman is plot-wise almost not really worth discussing. Also, we're going to basically use actors' names this entire movie because
We can.
the characters' names I cannot pronounce.
That'll be fun. I think we should do the characters' names for a little bit.
Do you have them all pulled up?
I can.
Because I could not memorize them. I tried to.
I can pull them up for you.
Okay, so I'll say the actors' names, and then you'll say the character that they play.
I feel like that'll just be.
It'll be the opposite of how it normally goes.
It'd be confusing for both of us then,
Why?
because we're gonna be like, if you don't know the characters' names, well, it's just gonna be confusing for you then.
Won't be confusing for me. I'm gonna say the actor's name, and you'll tell me what the character's name is.
Oh, okay. Sounds good to me.
Solomon, you are easily confused these days.
I am. Maybe I'm a normie.
So, like Solomon said, this movie is essentially Hamlet or The Lion King, which is essentially Hamlet. This was the original story, and I don't think I'm getting this wrong. This is the original story that Hamlet itself is based on, which is an old Viking folk tale. But it's, as folk tales often are, it is not particularly nuanced. You know what I mean? It's very straightforward. A lot of the nuance of Hamlet was added by Shakespeare.
Yes.
And then obviously embellished and made more lighthearted in The Lion King.
Yep.
Which is where most people that don't know Shakespeare know the story of Hamlet.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what Solomon said in the plot synopsis, there's almost nothing else to this plot.
Yep.
The young boy, his father is murdered by Scar, and actually, this is the one actor whose name I don't remember. Who was it that played the uncle who murders his own brother?
Ethan Hawke.
No, Ethan Hawke is the.
Oh, that's the dad.
Yeah, Ethan Hawke plays the king, and he's really great in the movie. He doesn't have a particularly large role, but he brings a large amount of gravitas and has to do some pretty crazy stuff, including pretending to be a wolf and drinking out of a bowl. I always give you the task of you being the technology person. It's really funny. He's on his phone all the time, but ask him to look up something or Google something.
I have it. The cast pulled up. I just don't know who's who.
You can't tell by what he looks like or by where he's listed.
No, not at all. Okay, it could be.
No.
His name Feng?
No, we're not doing this.
Was his name Thorfinn?
We're not going to play a game.
Thorfinner?
Where we just keep asking me to guess.
Thorvalder?
Solomon, I'm going to throw something at you if you keep doing this. I already told you I don't know any of the characters' names.
Would you recognize the name if I told you?
I wouldn't. No.
Claes Bang?
No. Stop it.
No, that's a real person.
I'm going to throw something at you. I'm not kidding.
What about...
What's in the studio that I can throw?
Hang on. What about... Afbor Ulius Bjornsson?
Yep, that's him.
Okay.
So anyway, that guy kills Ethan Hawke. And his young son witnesses. They try and kill him as well. But he escapes, runs away to live the life of a Viking warrior for some other tribe.
Yep.
The whole time, he's just constantly saying his mantra over and over again.
If only I knew that bad guy's name.
He says,
I'll avenge you, father. I'll save you, mother. And I'll kill you.
Bjornsson Gorgensheimer.
That is not that long. I feel like it's Gelmir or Helmir.
So we have don't worry, I'll look it up while you're talking about something. It'll take me 3 seconds. It's going to be pretty easy.
I asked you.
No, don't worry. It'll take me 3 seconds. This cast, by the way, really is stacked. It's Alexander Skarsgård in the lead role. Anya Taylor-Joy.
My favorite person in the whole world.
Do you want to say it again since you talked over me?
Anya Taylor-Joy.
Yeah, it was really gross watching this movie with Solomon. Actually,
Dad, stop saying gross. It wasn't.
It was really gross.
It wasn't though.
Yeah, I'm sitting right next to you in the movie, trying to eat my popcorn and watch the movie, and every time Anya Taylor-Joy's on the screen, it's like,
Dad, calm down. That's not what I was. That was horrible.
I know. I was there. And Nicole Kidman.
Yep.
Willem Dafoe.
Yeah.
So yes, it was a Bjork.
Yep.
Not familiar. Her work as a singer. She was the witch lady.
The witch lady.
Yeah, she appears and gives him the prophecy.
Oh yeah.
So we're gonna take a quick break actually, and I'm going to throw things at Solomon, and then I'm gonna find out what the name of the bad guy is, which he was supposed to do before we started, but it's okay.
I'm gonna throw things at
all
Solomon.
love.
My name is Chocolate.
Take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Hey y'all, I'm April.
Hi, I'm Caroline.
And we have a new podcast for you. What's it called, Caroline?
Bloody Happy Hour.
It's going to be your new favorite guilty pleasure. We're going to talk about some bloody stuff. Serial killers. True crime.
Rape.
Rapists. Why not join us? We'll have a good time.
You literally never know. I don't know what I'm going to say. Bloody Happy Hour. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about Frozen, heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hey, I'm Zach.
And I'm Mike.
And we have a fantastic new podcast to tell you about. Bros, Foes, and Heroes. It's the two of us looking into the world of comics, breaking down some characters that you may have never heard of, and some that are just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so Zach comes up with a character each time, and I go into it just completely blind. I don't know who this person is or what their abilities are or anything, and basically I guess we kind of go over their origin story and just some of the ridiculous stuff that maybe, especially Golden Age stuff.
Oh, Golden Age stuff is always the best, and we will make sure to highlight all of the shenanigans and just absolute weirdness of everything.
Yeah, that's right. So subscribe today and follow us on Instagram at Bros Heroes.
And if you don't, I know where you live. Not really, but please subscribe.
Bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and foes and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
Hi, this is Sarah,
And I'm Carter.
and this is Some of Our Thoughts.
We're two Southern sommeliers, and we want to share everything we love and know about wine. We started hanging out during quarantine and cooking and drinking and listening to music, and we just thought this would be a great way to bring everything we know to you guys.
We will make wine knowledge and food pairings easy and approachable. So put on your favorite vinyl, grab your favorite glass of wine, tune into our show, and let's have some fun.
Wine and
vinyl.
So check us out on roguemedianetwork.com or wherever you get your favorite podcast. We'll be talking about a lot.
Welcome back to the Kids Station, the podcast.
Yeah, you guys missed a very interesting break where I almost committed homicide,
I was looking up how to say the O with the two dots.
and you didn't learn how to do it. But
I think it's like A sound, or maybe it's not. It could just be wrong.
yeah. So do we figure out who the name of the murderer brother is?
Fjolnir?
Fjolnir.
Why are you putting an L in there?
What is it?
Fjolnir.
Fjolnir.
You're putting Flonir.
Fjolnir.
You went Fjolnir.
What is it though?
It's Fjolnir.
Fjolnir. Whatever. So he kills his brother Ethan Hawke, and that's what he says. He says, "I will."
I'll avenge you, father.
Solomon, now, can you read the sign? We have a sign.
Mjot. Mat.
Can you really not read that?
Motley Crue.
So our producer was showing us a sign. I think he was trying to help us. I think it was Motley Crue. Yeah. That was how you read Motley Crue?
There was an O. There was an O with two dots over it. Does that just mean
Oh, man. You're illiterate in every language that you speak.
What? That's rude.
So, yes, that's what he says. He says, so let's reset. Let's reset for the audience, okay? So what we're saying is the young boy's escaped after witnessing his father's murder. Oh, his mom is played by Nicole Kidman. She's getting taken by the king, and it looks very sad. She's all crying, and it looks like he's taking her to go have his way with her. It's really horrifying. And yes, so the whole time he's rowing, and the whole time he's growing up, it shows him he just keeps repeating that mantra, which is,
I will avenge you, father. I'll save you, mother, and I'll kill you, Motley Crue.
oh my god. Oh my god. Yes, and just so you know, this is about as deep as character and characterization as we're gonna get. Like, this person has no other inner life. This movie is very cold, and
Just like Iceland.
yes, these characters are simple. They are archetypes. The plot is simple. It's almost an archetype itself. And so there's not a lot to go into as far as like characters' inner lives, or you know what I mean? It's about raw physical performance and the way the movie goes about telling the story rather than what the story's about, to paraphrase Roger Ebert. Do you disagree with that? Or do you feel like there's...
No, I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, we get to see a little bit of like Olga and all males in her life.
So Olga is played by Anya Taylor-Joy. She's just another slave that he runs into. She's also, it seems like, trying to get home. I couldn't never tell really exactly what her motivation was.
Me neither.
Who's the other persons in her life that you said? Omnimel?
I don't really know how to pronounce his name either.
We need to give people some context of who these characters are. They're not going to have any clue just by you saying random Icelandic names.
How do you say his name? Let's see.
We don't need. We don't care.
No, his name is Amleth.
Who's Amleth?
He's the main guy.
What do you get to see of his inner life?
Him dating that other girl.
That's not an inner life. Serial killers date people.
Okay.
I'm just saying, if you're saying we get to see his inner life, I just said the opposite of that. You said you agree, and now you say we did get to see it. So
we got to see a little bit of it, is what I said.
Then elaborate.
Well, we got to see, like, him, what he's like talking to girls, and that he actually wants to, like, protect her and also murder his father's killer.
We don't really get to see what he's like talking to girls. It's not like like literally we do see him say words to a woman out of his mouth, but it's not like he goes up to her and he's like, "Hey, Anya, do you want to go out with me after the slavers go to bed?" No, he's like, she comes up to him and starts talking to him, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to go kill this guy. I'm going to rescue my mom, kill this guy, rescue my mom, avenge my dad, kill this guy." And she's like, "Oh, okay, want to go hook up underneath this grass?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure, but after that, I got to go kill this guy and rescue my mom and avenge my father." There's no part of that story that is not almost purely motivated by her until the very end. So I don't think we see any inner life. The problem is the characters wouldn't become necessarily interesting until the end of the movie's over, right?
Yeah.
The end of the movie's over.
Yeah, the
end of the movie.
Yes.
Because as in almost every revenge story, the point of it is that revenge is futile. It brings you no pleasure. It will drive your life and ruin it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's nothing not particularly new or insightful that I would say the Northman has to offer on revenge.
In The Lion King, it works.
Yes.
He gets revenge and it's good.
Right, but he's not motivated by revenge in The Lion King. You know?
Yeah, it's true.
Because he doesn't know that Scar killed his father.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's just sad, and he regains his confidence, and he comes back. And then he does kill Scar, but that wasn't his plan the whole time. He wasn't just hanging out Timon and Pumbaa being like, oh, gotta kill me that Scar. Why are you making that face?
Okay. You're right. That's accurate. Sorry, I just thought that was so weird and creepy.
I like that you just said okay again, your new favorite word.
It is. I love that word.
So I think that Anya Taylor-Joy's character, and like I said, she's a slave who comes into the movie about midway point.
Midway?
About midway through the movie.
Really?
Well, we watched the whole beginning part of the movie.
We watched the beginning.
And then we watched the whole part where he's like with the Vikings. And then he goes and whatever. And then he meets her on the ship when they're going to Iceland. So yeah, it's about the midway point in the movie.
Huh. Is this movie longer than I thought?
2 hours and 15 minutes.
Huh.
I like that you want to argue about this, though.
Isn't that the same amount of time that Everything Everywhere All at Once was?
Yes. Why does that matter?
Just making a connection.
Okay. Connection to nothing. So you keep derailing whatever my train of thought, and now I can't remember where I was going. Oh yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy. She comes in about halfway through the movie, or I don't know, whatever Solomon wants to argue about. Maybe he thinks she came in 5 minutes before the halfway mark or 10 minutes afterwards. But roughly halfway through the movie, she comes in. We don't really know anything about her. She believes that she has mystical powers, or that maybe she's some kind of a witch person. But it really just seems like she knows about nature. You know, like she knows which mushrooms are poisonous. And she has good instincts, which some people might have confused for magical abilities.
She seemed pretty magical.
Yeah, that's because you think everything she does is
Are
magical.
you saying she's not magical?
I don't think that she had magic in the movie, no.
I think she does have magic.
The movie was also, sorry, I'll finish this thought first. So she comes the closest to being a fully three-dimensional person, but we still just don't get to know almost anything about her. So still, she's just a rough sketch of a character at the end of the day, as is everyone. But let's talk really quickly about the supernatural.
Let's talk about the supernatural.
So Eggers is known for his kind of fascination with the more pagan side of the supernatural, and he believes that modern society's kind of lost it. I'm speaking for him, but I listened to a lot of interviews with him. That's why he made The Witch. You know, he kind of grew up in New England around the Salem area, and that really fascinated him. What if this is real? I personally think that he really does think that it's real, but whatever. I won't put words directly into his mouth.
That's
But
good.
if you listen to some of the interviews that he did right when The Witch was getting made, he sounded pretty freaky about it. So, he's very fascinated with these ancient religions, these ancient powers. You know what I mean? He's kind of like Lovecraftian in that way. And he wanted to make this movie because, these Vikings and these ancient gods and they're, you know what I mean? Like, and he wanted to make it like real. I had a hard time actually feeling like the movie committed to that. It committed, I think, 100% to the idea that these people believed it was real, very, very hardcore. But what do you think? Do you think in this movie that the supernatural was supposed to be actually there, actually happening, or do you think it was imaginary? Yeah.
Can we define supernatural?
Do you think that Odin is really in the movie? Do you think a magic mystical witch can appear and disappear? Do you think people were doing magic? Do you think he
Yes.
fought a zombie? I mean,
Yes.
yes,
I do believe that it was real.
you do.
Within the movie, yes.
Then why was it so? Why did it feel like he was obfuscating it?
Obfuscating?
I'm so sorry. I forgot to bring a dictionary for you.
Sorry. Look, okay, so
Why did it seem like he was hedging his bets a little bit? It seemed like he was hiding it.
I don't know. Maybe it was just poor choice, but I felt like there was a very obvious. I felt like it was very like real. Like he had the magic sword that couldn't unsheath during the day.
Easy to explain. He just thought it couldn't unsheath during
He
the day.
tried. He acted, and he's like they're very strong. We see how strong he is.
I didn't
And
see him ever try and do it. I saw the other guy try and do it, but I thought maybe there was just a strap on it or something.
I feel like he also tried.
The magic sword doesn't do a single
Yeah,
magical
he did.
thing.
He did try to do it because he was like, because it was just now hitting daybreak, and he tried to pull it out to kill someone, and then it didn't open.
That's pretty weak.
And then
The sword does nothing magical, just so everybody knows. It doesn't glow. It doesn't do anything.
it just looks pretty cool.
It looks like a sword with runes carved into it.
That's cool to me.
It was cool, but I'm just saying.
But yeah, it still was magical. He did fight a zombie.
Except for after he fights the zombie, the scene resets and he's just standing in front of the zombie trying to take the sword out of his hands again. So it made it look like the whole fight was in his head.
I thought that was magic. Like I thought there was like some like magical thing that whenever he touched it, he like went into like a fight, a realm of fighting, I guess.
Seemed,
It was like-
like
it was
I
like a-
said,
it was
it
like a
seemed like he was
trial.
obfuscating, just trying to create confusion. Like he wanted us to still be thinking, is it real? Is it not real? That's a really weird way to do that. That's very, very vague. There's no reason whatsoever, if you weren't trying to create confusion, why you would edit it back to where he's standing back in front of the zombie and it's completely intact and sitting exactly where it was.
That's true. That's fair. But to me, it felt magical.
Well, also the part where they are wreaking. So just, I guess we should give a little bit more plot. So after he being Alexander Skarsgård, the lead, who is trying to get revenge for his father. So let's just call him Simba. So when Simba decides to return, it turns out that his uncle doesn't run the kingdom anymore. because he got immediately sacked by a bunch of other Vikings. So now he basically has a tiny little sheep village. That's all he runs, way far away. I think in Greenland. Is it Greenland?
Greenland's actually the cold one. Apparently, Iceland's the green one. So
yeah, I think they're in Greenland. So it might be, but I could be reading it wrong. It might be Iceland. Either way, he's just running a little sheep farm. So he still has slaves and whatever, but like 4. And it's like his entire new quote unquote empire is just like 3 little hobbit houses. And yeah, so Viking Simba pretends to be a slave so that he'll get taken back to his uncle so he can kill him, right?
yes,
And so him and Anya Taylor-Joy, the other slave, they basically figure out how to get out at night, and they start terrorizing the camp. And this is the other place where I feel like he is trying to create confusion on whether or not anything really supernatural is going on, or these people are just have like such primal belief in it that, you know what I mean, it almost manifests itself into existence. Is while they're terrorizing them, they kill people and they'll cut their body parts up and display them in this pagan way.
yeah,
So they all think they're being haunted by these very specific Viking spirits. And then Anya Taylor-Joy goes and picks a bunch of mushrooms, and she's talking about how it's magic and how the magic's going to take over their minds. Well, we call them magic mushrooms, but it ain't because we think they really have magic in them. And then so everybody starts hallucinating, and then they are like, oh, the spirit voices are inside of them, steal your minds. So yet again, another example of something that everyone is having hysteria and thinks is supernatural, but there's nothing supernatural going on. So can you give me one example besides that sword not coming out of its sheath, which is really the only example that you actually have potentially of something of any other time when you would say that he unequivocally says this is happening for real, like something supernatural is actually happening?
Olga does magic.
What magic does she do?
At the end with the boat, she starts like saying runes, and then all of a sudden a huge gust of wind comes in their direction.
That doesn't prove anything.
Yeah, but like
That could be coincidence. That's why people believe in magic, right?
yeah,
Yeah. So
but
people, if okay, let's say it was a Christian person and not a Viking person. You're on a boat and you say a prayer that you'll be able to get there faster, because that's what you're trying to do, get there faster. And then right around that time, a strong gust of wind comes. That doesn't mean that anything supernatural happened.
yeah, but like there was no wind, and then she started doing the magic, and then wind. It felt like it was supposed to be like that, though.
It felt like it was supposed to make it seem like that's what everybody thought was happening. Yes. But again, there's a way cinematically that you would show that if you were really wanting. Now, I understand that Eggers also could have been going for such realism that this is the way that the gods interact with us on Earth is through how the Earth works naturally. So maybe it's not going to be Zeus comes down with a big bolt of lightning, or Odin in this case.
Yeah.
But there was no cinematic indication that it was anything other than a coincidence. Because to me, if you're trying to really make it overt that this is really genuinely something supernatural is going on, maybe you would have that Odin voice that you heard at the beginning at the volcano that was really weird and cool.
Yeah.
And then, or you'd have like the clouds open up or lightning strike the water. I don't know. A bunch of things that you could have done to make it seem more supernatural than just have the wind start blowing.
Well, like it was like shot on her, and then she was doing it, and the wind blew.
Yeah, but it didn't show anything supernatural. The wind blowing is not supernatural, and her chanting is also not supernatural.
Okay, what about that creepy lady?
That is what I was going to say. That's the only thing that leads me to believe that Eggers believes that the religion, that the Vikings were actually tapping into something really primal. And that is because of that woman. Now, we could still say it's a hallucination. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But because it happens after the thrill of battle, but he hasn't drank anything. He's sober. He hasn't eaten anything, but he does have a broken, kind of fractured mind.
Mm-hmm.
And he needs something. But the prophecy does also kind of talk about Anya Taylor-Joy's character.
Yeah.
So, but yes, Bjork plays a witch that he sees once or twice in the movie. But that would be the only time I would say, because every single other time it seems like he hedges his bets really, really, really hard. Like I need to stop saying hedges his bets, but I can't say obfuscates, and that feels like what he's doing more. It feels like it feels like he's intentionally hiding behind something.
Then say obfuscates.
No, it's fine. I don't need to keep saying the same words over and over again anyway. But there's another part where he visits another witch, a man witch, a seer.
Yeah.
And he has the head of Simba's dad's best friend, who was also like their court jester / wise man.
Mm-hmm.
That was Willem Dafoe's character. Remember that?
Yeah.
So he has Willem Dafoe's head, and I'm pretty sure that's the character that is in the God of War game, by the way. You know, you carry his head around and it gives you advice.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
But yeah, so he has this head, and he claims that it talks to him, and that his uncle Viking Scar cut his eyes, ears, and tongue out before he killed him.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that he can talk now because he crafted him new eyes and new tongue, and he talks to him and he tells him all these things. So he sets his head down, and if you wanted to make it to where you're trying to make the audience believe that something supernatural is happening, you would have made the head start talking when he does his magic spell.
Yeah.
Instead, he puts the head down, he like ingests some smoke or whatever, starts acting like a crazy person, and then he starts talking as if he is the Willem Dafoe character. Remember?
Yeah.
So why would he do that if he's not trying to purposefully not show us if it's really supernatural or not?
Yeah, but then he gives like a magic prophecy thing about the sword that he goes and gets. That is magic also.
But that's not a prophecy. He just tells him that guy could just know that. Why could the head know that and the other guy couldn't know that?
Because of magic. Magical.
You don't
magic.
seem to understand magic very well. If this is what you think magic is, I feel sorry for you. Your imagination is weak.
There's all kinds of magic in the world, Dad.
Just yawn directly into the microphone.
No, I spoke into the microphone.
Man, oh man. I hope you do better in your performance tonight. Hope your energy's a little bit higher.
We'll see.
You know what? I actually think you should stay home.
No, I'm not gonna stay home.
I'm gonna text and tell them you're not gonna be able to perform. You're too sleepy.
Can you stop talking about my life in the podcast studio?
Nope. I want to talk about it.
I want to talk about this movie.
I want you to talk about the magic and why you think that all these things that you're naming could very easily not be magic.
What about the sword, though? The sword is like...
The sword does nothing magic besides one shot that I don't even remember seeing, where multiple times he keeps trying to pull it out of the sheath when he can't.
Well, he tries to pull it out, and then the other guy tries to pull it out.
The other guy tries to pull it out, but the other it's in like a sheath thing.
Yeah, do you think the sheath has a lock on it?
Could. Or a strap, and that guy's just dumb. But yeah, so other than a shot or two of him not being able to pull a sword that does nothing magic, it literally doesn't do anything magic. What's magical about it? I understand that they said it's magic, but what does it do that's magical?
I don't know.
Exactly. So it's just actually a dumb sword. This is a dumb sword then. If that's its magic power, is that it can't be used in the daytime. It's just a dumb broken sword.
Maybe any stab is a murder stab.
Every stab that he was doing before was a murder stab.
Yeah, maybe. I just feel like if it's not magic, then it's stupid.
What?
If none of the things I was saying was magic, then it just feels kind of dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I don't say it feels dumb, but I definitely wish that he would have gone more the witch route, where the witch, there definitely was evil and witches. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He played around with the idea of whether or not what the family thought was happening because of witches or not, and allowing their paranoia to get the better of them. But there was witches from the beginning. We knew it. We watched a witch mash a baby up and smear its blood all over her face. So we knew there was a witch from the beginning in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I just didn't like the fact that it seemed like he was playing both sides of the fence. Now, it did show things like people, Valkyries riding off into, Valhalla. But it was always in parts where it could have easily just been
A dream.
a dream or, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, we don't have to keep going into that. I think that we covered, like, for the most part, where we have both had differing opinions about it. But you see the fact that even can happen? I don't like that. I know some people like ambiguity. I don't like ambiguity on whether something supernatural is happening or not, and that ambiguity lasts through the end of the movie.
Yeah.
People have been doing that since, modern cinema was invented. And nothing annoys me more than when I start reading, like, let's say a review of a haunted house movie. And they say, the director did something really clever here, which is you don't know really whether the person's being haunted or she's just going crazy. Ugh, I hate that. There's nothing original about that or clever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I can't stand that. And that's a personal preference, obviously. But in this movie, really, that was the biggest thing that didn't work for me. I was really hoping this was going to be Eggers diving really into the
Like Norse Viking magic.
Well, not that I wanted a Marvel movie, but you know what I mean? That I wanted it to be like, it was kind of like, like he wasn't gonna be vague about it.
Yeah.
If he was gonna, otherwise, basically, I'd rather him not even have included it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, last thing I want to discuss really quickly is soundtrack and the score and the cinematography, because, and I guess costume sets and all that stuff. We can kind of just boil that all into it, because that's the main thing I think this movie is about. You know what I mean? Or the main reason that I would say to watch the movie.
Yeah.
Sounds like faint praise, but when it's done this well, I would say it's not. The movie looks like you're getting dragged back into Viking times. It looks incredibly authentic.
Yep.
From costuming to sets to all of that stuff, almost everything is practical. That's just how Eggers always works. So you kind of can know that. But going in, but the cinematography specifically, it's so gorgeous for one.
Yeah.
And you said you looked up the cinematographer's name. I can't pronounce his name ever. Did you like look it up, and then by the time that we started doing the podcast, you were texting somebody?
No, I just went and I was looking up a bunch of other things as well.
Do you know how to use tabs? Have you ever heard of tabs?
I did use tabs, but I think I cleared that tab.
Anyway, I have the most worthless podcast co-host. Honestly, less than worthless.
It's called, his last name is like Balsk.
Okay. His last name is something like Balsk, so please look him up and check out his other filmography.
I got y'all.
But the cinematography, he has like one specific. Well, the thing is, I can't talk to you while you're.
You can keep talking.
But do you know his name?
No.
Yeah, but if I'm talking to you while you're doing something else, then it's not really going to be a very fun conversation.
Well, don't worry.
I'm just going to have to repeat myself again for the audience.
No, you don't. You don't actually have to. His name is Jaron Blaschk.
Blaschk? And is he the guy who's collaborated with Eggers before? That's what I was trying to see. That's what I was asking you to look him up, is because I wanted to make sure he was Eggers' cinematographer in his other movies.
Yeah, he did The Lighthouse, The Witch.
That's what I thought. So it's his longtime cinematographer. This guy's great at doing natural lighting. In The Witch, he was having to shoot actually by candlelight on film. Crazy, insanely hard to do. But yeah, he had this one like kind of motif that he was doing the whole time with the cinematography, where it's kind of what I was telling you before. It was like this whole story is about inevitability and fate and prophecy, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how Hamlet goes, and The Lion King even to an extent. But it's these characters' fates have been set in motion. There's really nothing they can do about it. I would honestly say, because this is a Viking story, that the message of this story is probably, for the Vikings, was probably not, revenge is not something you should worry about. You know what I mean? It ruined your life.
Yeah.
I don't think Vikings thought that at all.
Mm-mm.
So I think the story is really about how you don't have a choice. You know what I mean? Fate puts you on a path, and then you have to go there. And the reason I bring that up is because the cinematography has this very similar, like I said, motif that it keeps doing, where the shot, it'll frame everything up kind of like right in the center, almost in a square. And then it just is a steady push in. Not so slow that you don't notice it, but not fast. It's just a very steady push in. Inevitable, you're moving forward. Inevitable, we're going into this battle. And then it will do a quick, sharp, kind of turn to the right or left. And then it will just keep pushing. It doesn't like push in and then start like looking around.
Yeah.
It pushes in until it gets to the violent scene or whatever. Then it turns to face the next whoever they're going to follow now. And it just keeps pushing in. And I this is something that some people would say, well, if you're having to look at all that stuff, then maybe the movie wasn't that interesting. But the movie is about how you're telling this very simple, ancient story.
Yeah. There's not much you could like add on to this story. It's just a revenge tale.
Yeah. And if you did the Hollywood thing, you would just like have created more of a love story and more of a whatever. But then what Eggers is trying to do is he's trying to get into the primal part of this story. Why has it lasted so long? You know what I mean? Actually, I don't even think that question bothers him. I don't think that's what he was asking himself. I think he really just wanted to dig into this and tell it in the most primal way possible.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt about the soundtrack as well, or the score was, it's this like screaming, aggressive thing. It's almost impossible for me to describe it, but it was like, if you were starting to get sleepy or whatever, or you thought you would be getting sleepy or whatever in this movie, the score will not let you do it if you're watching at the theater.
Yeah.
I mean, it is aggressive and, screamy.
like hard metal,
No,
like punk rock.
No, it wasn't like that. So, like I said, it felt otherworldly. It was just, and it felt like it was sweeping around you and like going through you at different parts.
Yeah, I was just making sure. Those normies who are listening to this podcast, I'm sure when they think screaming, they think horrible, loud punk rock metal.
Yeah, well, hopefully they weren't so silly that they thought that there was going to be heavy metal was going to be the soundtrack.
Well, hopefully they thought the Northman wasn't filled with lions.
Well, you said it was the Lion King. Anyway, did you have any comments that you were going to, about the cinematography or anything before we wrap up? We're about at time.
No, I think you covered it all.
Yeah,
I think you did a great job. It's so good.
All right. Well, I think next week. Actually, I'm not going to say what we're going to be reviewing next week.
Yeah, please stop doing that. It makes it very hard for us.
Yeah, I'm not going to say what we're going to be reviewing next week. So we'll just go ahead and wrap up with our score for this movie. So for me, I'm going to give The Northman. I'm torn here because I'm inclined to give it, on how I feel about it, closer to a 7.
Yeah.
On its technical, because it's such a cold movie, there's just nobody to access in this film. But considering it's a very long Viking movie with no characters that are remotely pleasant or that you want to be around, and it still held my attention the entire time, and I really, really just enjoyed the experience of watching it from a technical level, which is hard. I know that's not going to sell a lot of people on it. There is amazing action choreography and stuff in this movie.
Yeah, very, very cool.
But
and
yeah,
very well done.
I'm an emotional movie watcher. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that makes it to where enjoyment wise, I think about a 7, but I'm going to probably give it. I'm going to give it an 8.
So it's
just so well done, and I really and that's the other thing. Unlike The Lighthouse, I actually think that I will watch this movie again.
Yeah, I will never watch The Lighthouse again. But I was literally gonna give it an 8. What is your thing?
An 8. I give it an 8
out of
10.
8 out of 10 what?
Paddle boats. I don't know. I didn't think about that.
Okay. 8 out of 10 vague magical powers.
Vague magical powers?
Yes.
Yours are always so long.
I like that. It's fun.
All right. Well, that is our whatever.
Our podcast?
No, I was gonna say our review, but it's not really necessarily a review. Our discussion of The Northman.
Yeah.
So
we hope you enjoyed, and
until next time.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Farewell.
Follow us on Instagram at The Kid in the Pick and on RogueMediaNetwork.com.
Until next time.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.